Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Miss Cole Explains Your Homework. Today we're going to be learning how to take the circumference of a circle and figure out the diameter, or how to take the area and figure out the diameter of the radius. So it'll feel a little bit like working backwards compared to what we've been doing up until now. So in this problem, they tell us that the circumference of the circle is 25.12 inches, and they're asking us to find the diameter. The first thing we want to do is write down the formula for the circumference of a circle. We know that circumference is equal to pi times diameter. And in this case, they've given us 25.12 inches for the circumference, and they told us to use 3.14 as our approximation for pi. So the only thing we don't know is the diameter. Anytime we have an equation with a variable in it like this, and we want to figure out the value of the variable, we just have to get the variable all by itself. So to get rid of this 3.14, we're going to divide by 3.14, and we just have to make sure we do that on both sides of the equation. So this is going to end up canceling out and getting the diameter all by itself. And if we do 25.12 divided by 3.14 on the calculator, it gives us 8. So our answer is going to be 8 inches. I'm just going to bring the units up here, the inches, down with my answer. They don't change. Okay, so my final answer is going to be diameter equals 8 inches. The diameter of the circle is 8 inches. I'm ready for the next problem. The next problem says the area of a circle is 28.26 square millimeters. What is the diameter? So here they're giving me the area, and they're asking me to find the diameter. So the first thing I want to do is write down the formula for the area. Area of a circle is pi times radius squared. Okay, I know here that the area of this circle is 28.26 square millimeters. So let me write 28.26, and I'm going to use the abbreviation for millimeters, square millimeters. And I'm going to use 3.14 for pi, and I'm going to leave the r squared because I don't know what radius is yet. Alright, I'm going to try and get the radius all by itself. So in the problem, I'm actually trying to figure out the diameter, right? Over here it says what is the circle's diameter. But if I could find the radius, then I'll be able to find the diameter. If you're not sure how to do that, we'll go over it in a second. So I'm going to start by dividing by 3.14 to get rid of the 3.14. Okay, so these are going to cancel out, and I'm going to be left with radius squared. And over here, if I do 28.26 divided by 3.14, I'll get 9. Okay, now I have to figure out, how do I get rid of this? I'm trying to get the radius by itself, and right now the radius is being squared. To do that, you just need to remember how opposite operations work. So we know that the opposite of addition is subtraction. We know the opposite of multiplication is division. Turns out that if you have a letter or a variable that's being squared, the opposite of squaring is taking the square root. Okay? So if I have something that's being squared and I want to unsquare it, to do that I use the square root. The square root is basically asking, what would you get if you unsquared? In this case, I know that 3 times 3 is 9, so I know that radius has to be 3, because 3 to the second power is 9. But sometimes you have a number that's not quite so friendly over here, so you'll want to use this in your calculator. So what that would look like on your paper is you'd be taking the square root of both sides. So what's going to happen on the right side here is this square root and this exponent 2 are going to cancel each other out, and all that's going to be left on the next line is the variable r. If I put the square root of 9 into my calculator, my answer is going to be 3. Okay, so I figured out the radius of the circle, but this problem is asking for diameter. So let me just go back over to my picture for a second, take a look. I know that this, from the center to the circle, is a radius. So that must be 3, because I just figured out radius is 3. Well, this, on the other side, from the center to the circle, is also a radius. So it must also be 3. So then the diameter all the way across the circle must be 6. So the answer to this problem, what I would type into my answer box for IXL would be the diameter is 6. And I lost track of my units up here somewhere. Looks like we started with square millimeters, and when we unsquare it, if we take the square root of square millimeters, we end up with just millimeters. So our answer is the diameter of that circle is 6 millimeters. Okay. Sometimes you have a problem without a picture, and that can be a little bit scary, but it's really just the same question. It's saying Marlon works at a lab with a huge circular particle accelerator. It has been carefully engineered to have a circumference of 25.12 kilometers. What is the accelerator's diameter? So we know we're dealing with a circle whose circumference is 25.12 kilometers, and we're trying to find the diameter. So all we need to do, just like before, is write down the formula for circumference, pi times diameter, and fill in the number they gave us. Oops. 25.12 kilometers. Okay, and we're using 3.14 as our approximation for pi, and we don't know the diameter. That's what we're trying to figure out. So if we divide by 3.14 on both sides, we're going to end up with just the diameter by itself on the right side. And over here, I'm just going to put this 25.12 divided by 3.14 into my calculator, and it gives me 8 kilometers is the diameter of the circle. So it's a little scary because it doesn't have a picture, but it's not really any different from what we already did. This last question is a little different. It says an artist is commissioned to create a round state seal with a circumference of 12.56 feet. So we have a circle that has a circumference of 12.56 feet. What is the seal's area? So what is the area of that circle? So let's start by writing down both of our formulas. We know circumference is pi times diameter. Okay, and we know that area is pi times radius squared. So they give me the circumference right here, 12.56 feet, and they want me to find the area. I can't find the area until I know the radius. Well, I can't find the radius from the circumference, but I can find the diameter. So what I'm going to do is start with circumference, use that to figure out diameter, use that to find the radius, and then use the radius to find the area. It's a lot of steps, so we'll take them one at a time. I know circumference equals pi times diameter, and circumference is 12.56 feet. And I know I'm using 3.14 for pi, and diameter is what I'm trying to figure out. So let me divide both sides by 3.14. Okay, so over here, those are going to cancel out. All that's left is diameter. And over here, 12.56 divided by 3.14 gives me 4. So 4 feet is the diameter of the circle. So now I have the diameter is 4. I'm trying to figure out the radius. So let me just draw a circle for myself and think about how the diameter and the radius are going to work. So what I just figured out was that the diameter is 4 feet. The diameter is straight across the whole circle. What I would like to figure out is what the radius has to be, keeping in mind that the radius is from the center of the circle to the circle itself, right? So remember, radius is going to be approximately, well, exactly, it's going to be exactly half of diameter. So if diameter is this red line all the way across, radius is going to be half of that. It goes from the center of the circle out to the edge of the circle. So in this case, the radius of the circle must be 2 feet, because that's exactly half of 4. All right, now I'm ready for the last step, which is take my formula for area, pi times radius squared, and fill in all my numbers. 3.14 times radius, which is 2, squared. So 2 to the second power is going to give me 4. 3.14 times 4, which equals 12.56. And I was measuring my units in feet, and I know area is a 2-dimensional measurement, so my answer is going to be square feet. Thanks for watching. Happy mathing.